Yay, now we're live. Finally. Hello, hello, NotJah Witness here. How are we all?
Hello, welcome to Answers of Genesis.
Fenrir, my brother. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
That's the
I got a
way.
good night's sleep last night. I woke up about a half hour ago. I'm here.
Yeah, about 5 minutes after the live stream was meant to start.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, that's all right. I took us back another 20 odd, 30 odd minutes anyway, so okay, so Fenrir, did you want to give yourself a bit of an introduction?
I am Fenrir the God Eater. I on YouTube and Twitter, and I am not much of a content creator, but I do like to talk to people.
Oh, that's always good. That's always helpful because I like to learn stuff, and the only way I can learn is when people talk to me.
Bingo.
Well, if you're here, you should know who I am. I'm NotJah Witness. I'm pretty new around here as well, former JW as well. That's why I thought I would reach out to Fenrir and have this little chat, and we could discuss our similar histories in the JW faith and out afterwards.
Oh yeah.
So, Fenrir, how long have you been out of the faith, particularly?
How long have I been out of the faith? Well, if we're going to be technical, I am technically still a Jehovah's Witness as far as I know. I am
Are you a baptized witness?
I am a baptized witness. I got baptized when I was 16 years old. And so I've been a witness since then, and I've been a witness my whole life, but I was baptized at 16.
Yep.
I've been inactive as a Jehovah's Witness for about 3 years. I got married, and pretty much after I got married, after a year of marriage, we kind of stopped going to meetings and stuff like that. Stopped going out in service,
Okay,
and
so
then
just
go ahead.
quickly, did you marry within JWs, or was that something that got
Of
into
course, I did. Who doesn't?
Yeah, well, you'd be surprised.
It
No,
says
okay,
in the Bible to marry only in the Lord. So that's what I did.
absolutely. It does. That's true.
My Lord, anyway.
But so did you get married recently? Like that was compared to when you left?
I have been married since 2014.
Oh God, what's that?
And
That's 4 years ago.
yeah, unfortunately, that is coming to a conclusion.
Oh, oh, sorry.
Yeah, yesterday was actually my anniversary.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
that
a few months ago, I made the decision that we should probably not be together anymore because of, on top of a lot of other things, my deciding to definitely not be a witness anymore kind of was the cherry on top. So things were extremely tense between us,
yeah.
and I didn't see them getting any better within our future. Like, we were on two very different paths as people. We had completely different views on life and different opinions on things, and I couldn't really see myself being with someone who I could not talk about anything and everything with anymore, and or be with someone who was pretty sure that I'm going to die in Armageddon with a fireball with my name on it.
Yeah, that definitely makes it a bit hard. That's wow. So I mean that it really had a significant effect on you, not just on your your general worldview when you lost, your beliefs, but it had a significant effect on your family life as well.
Very much so. It's yesterday was a very somber day for me. So,
Was that?
but it is what it is. I move forward.
Yeah. Damn, that's that's a sad way to start. I'm sorry to hear that.
No, it's okay.
Okay, so but that was pretty recent. And what when you got married, because it wasn't that much of a time difference, were you already starting to doubt, or was that something that happened after?
No, it's crazy. I met my wife at a time when I was pretty ready to leave everything. Back in 2010, I had graduated high school, and I was pretty miserable as a teenager. I hated everything. I was angry at the world. I was angry at the organization that, I pretty much didn't have a life. And I was like super close to just basically running away and like joining the Marines. Um, and then I met my wife at a Jehovah's Witness convention, and I was like, okay, I can do this. Because my wife is a very beautiful woman, and she's a cool girl. So I decided that I would go full on Jehovah's Witness, and I re-indoctrinated myself, and I went hardcore for a few years. What's that? I can't hear. I'm sorry.
Sorry. I was just saying. So you voluntarily went back into it.
I did, sort of. I'm gonna say it was my penis that did the volunteering for me.
Fair enough. So when you were young, obviously you grew up as a Jehovah's Witness, the same as I. What in what way did that affect your childhood?
Being a Jehovah's Witness as a child was pretty difficult for me.
Were you homeschooled or?
Oh my God, yes, I was.
Yeah, I thought that.
It's an interesting, to me at least, an interesting story.
Go for it.
My parents, they weren't bad people, but they weren't the greatest parents on the planet. I think they had a lot of people talk in their ears and tell them how to do things that they probably should not have done. My parents homeschooled most of us, and when it came down to, my parents had 5 children, 3 older sister. I have 4 sisters. I have 3 older sisters and 1 younger sister. When it got down to me and my little sister, when we were in homeschool, we received 0 education, and it was very difficult. I did go to public school. They did put me in public school in kindergarten and 1st grade, and that was all I got. And then for some reason, my parents decided that they would take us out, that they would take me out and homeschool us. And then they homeschooled my little sister. And for however many years that is, up until the 8th grade, I got no education. So from 2nd grade to 7th grade, I received no professional or formal education, and I pretty much had to learn everything on my own.
All right. And that it's such a different experience from me, having been in a public school, probably just from financial reasons. but I suppose in a way that kind of saved you from a lot of the torment of, you know, like being a little kid in a public school when you're a JW.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it did, I guess. I do remember when I was in kindergarten and first grade, I was, you know, we're not supposed to salute the flag or anything. So when the Pledge of Allegiance, or you know, say the Pledge of Allegiance. So when that happened, a teacher grabbed me and was, because I was sitting down, I was doing the old Colin Kaepernick kneel, and she's like,
Yeah.
"What are you doing? Why aren't you saying the Pledge of Allegiance?" And another the head teacher, you know, quickly told her what was going on.
Yeah, I had to come over
And
and go, hey, yep, whisper in
yeah,
the ear.
exactly. I was like, I'm not supposed to say the Pledge of Allegiance. And I had no idea why. I was only 5 years old. I just
Yep,
knew my parents told me I wasn't supposed to say the
you're
Pledge
not
of
allowed
Allegiance.
to.
And this
Yeah.
and this lady was like about to break my wrist for it.
I have very similar experiences as a kid. Yeah, but excuse me. But all through school, you know, I mean, for the first several years, you'd have teachers that still would be unfamiliar or would forget, and so to take a lot of telling them, no, remember, I'm a Jehovah's Witness. But this was after you get ostracized in front of the whole school, you know, because it's always like we do the flag and the national anthem thing when the whole school's together doing an assembly. And so if you're that one or two kids that are JWs, it gets bad in front of hundreds or, you know, other kids.
Yeah, I can imagine. Um, it wasn't a problem when I was put back in a public school. The problems I faced was going from being a horribly antisocial creature being shoved back into a world with god awful
The
prepubescent
worst, pretty
young
much the worst of
people.
the worst of them. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like literally, I was so excited when my dad told me I was going back to public school because I was literally expecting everything to be exactly like it was when I was in the first grade and kindergarten. Everyone was just going to be running around happy and there weren't going to be any problems. And the first day of school, I go to my bus stop and there's a kid smoking cigarettes. And I'm like, whoa. Oh, this is going to be funny. I'd never heard the word fuck before I went to public school.
And this
I
this
had,
is like that second later in your life, hey, not kindergarten or whatever. That's amazing.
right, when I was put in back into the 8th grade.
Yeah.
It was a complete culture shock, and it was my first year back in public school was extremely hard. Um, I really had to learn and adapt as a social person because I was extremely awkward. Um, it like I don't even know how to describe it. It was just bad. It was a complete culture shock for uh, a 12-year-old Jehovah's Witness child who had been homeschooled. But I I I pretty quickly adapted throughout the next 4 years. I did all right in high school socially.
That's pretty that's pretty lucky in the sense that you did well, you know, you did okay in those high school years. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I was just
yeah, because
thinking as you're
it could
saying
have been
that.
bad.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. I was thinking as you're saying that it was about your grade 8, and I'm guessing it's probably roughly the same age for us. That was around the time that I did well, I'd already sort of left the faith, but I did a major, how do I put this? Well, I got in trouble a lot, let's say that, like serious trouble a lot. And so that was my culture shock. Like I went from being a really nerdy goody two-shoes to being driven home from a different town in a cop car with, 10-page worksheet.
Wow. That's crazy. How old were you?
So, yeah, that was just before grade 8, I think.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. That was me really lashing out. I did some awful things, but a couple years before that, I'd been a bit of a firebug. I'd burnt places down. I blamed other people. I've done awful things when I was a kid, and I was
You're a
meant to be
goddamn anarchist.
I really, really am. But I was still a JW at that point, and I really wasn't.
Right. You were living a double life, as they put it.
But it was like it was. I think it comes with mental issues because I don't think it was something that I was actively like. I wasn't trying to go and get myself in. Well, okay. When I got in trouble with the cops, yes, I was trying to get myself. I was going out of my way to do all of that. But years earlier, I wasn't. Like, it wasn't like I was intentionally trying to be a bad kid when I was starting fires. I was just curious and dumb.
Right.
And when the blame fell on me, I was also a dumb kid that didn't want to get in trouble more than a Jehovah's Witness, So if I could lie, I would lie.
Yeah. I absolutely and completely understand that aspect and that line of thinking. That was a problem for me also, lying.
You just sort of, it's like, this is what I'm meant to do. And when you can't take it anymore, you break all the norms that you can, or all the way you've been taught, no tattoos. I have now tattoos. No swear words. I tattooed a swear word on me. No heavy metal. I become a metalhead. Like,
yeah, I guess we have all that in common. I never really thought about it as a rebellion, like an inner rebellion thing. Like, I always thought I just naturally liked those things, but I guess it was just a reaching out for something different. Yeah. So, yeah, I never thought of it as a rebellion. I just thought I just naturally love these things because I also love metal. I absolutely love tattoos and stuff. What's wrong?
Oh man. Oh fuck. To the world, my lovely heathens. I'm a smoker. I just lit up a cigarette not long ago. At the same time, having a delightful beer.
Did you just set the house on fire again?
No. I'm using an old beer can for my ashtray. If you can't see what I just did.
Okay. So you just put your cigarette butts in your drink that you were currently drinking, didn't you?
Probably just ashed right into my beer, but I'm glad I caught it before I decided to drink out of it.
You fucked up the beer.
I did. I just half a beer.
You have to drink it still. I'm sorry.
No, I'm right.
You can't waste the beer.
But just give me a quick sec. I'm gonna run away and grab a beer. Are you watching the chat, Fenrir?
I am.
Oh, good.
A little bit. I can't focus on it.
Hey, and I wanted to say hey to KC, Godless Iowan, DWB, Kill Some Time. Who else is in here? Torture Skeptic. How do you say that?
Couture.
Couture. Let's go with couture.
I guess.
Sounds sweet. And
maybe it's Maybelline.
Cap was here earlier when I was stuffing up my other live streams. Just, you know, hello to Cap as well. But I'll be right back. So
Cap Brony. I will. Psych, I ain't entertained y'all motherfuckers. Oh man. How is everyone in the chat doing today?
I'm back.
Hey, that was really fucking quick. I didn't have to do shit.
Yeah, actually, I could hear you from where I went. My fridge is like... Now, I got to somehow remember not to ash in my beer again.
Yes, please don't put cigarette butts in your drink
Don't
anymore.
Taste good.
I don't think so.
Anyway, okay, so what were we talking about before I royally fucked that up?
We were talking about the things that we kind of grew on because it went against our religious culture, metal, tattoos, and stuff like that. Yeah, and that's kind of what I think people are talking about in the chat is tattoos and stuff.
That's right.
Casey says 13? She has 13. Casey did.
Yep.
That's awesome.
That is cool. I've got like half completed tattoos because I got broke real quick.
Nice. I just got a tattoo
because it's manly.
Nice.
GI.
I just got a tattoo 2 weeks ago of
new one.
Killmonger from Black Panther on the back of my calf.
Don't spoil me. I haven't seen it yet.
I won't. But I got the character tattooed on me. That is cool. I didn't. People keep asking me why I have Michael B. Jordan tattooed on the back of my leg. And
why not?
The number one honest reason is because it was free.
Oh fuck yeah! No, any free tattoo is a good tattoo. Unless it's on your
well, like if it's a good tattoo, yes. I don't think all free tattoos are good tattoos, but I followed the artist on Instagram, and he had reached out to people saying that he just wanted to tattoo this portrait and that he wanted to practice his portraits. And I had seen his stuff before, so I had complete confidence in his abilities.
Yep.
And so I was like, I'll do it. And so I got a really awesome portrait of Killmonger on the back of my leg for free.
Is that your first tattoo? Is that your only tattoo? Or?
It is my third. It's my third tattoo. It's either my second or third tattoo because I have two bands. I have bands on both my wrists. I don't know if that counts as one tattoo because I got them at the same time. I'm gonna say it's two.
I'd say it's two. So I have the same problem. I have a heartogram on my chest that I got at one point in time, and then I don't know, months later I got more filled out with different shit. But I don't know whether I call that one tattoo or two. Like
exactly. I'm gonna go with two since it's in two different spots, and since the pain was twice as much, I'll go with two.
Yeah. Oh my god. Right on my nipple, my lord. I was warned. I was like, yeah, it'll be right. But holy shit, there's a tattoo on the nipple hurt.
Wow. I can only imagine. I have seen videos of nipples getting tattooed in slow motion, and I almost bit my tongue off watching it. I was like, holy fuck, that looks painful.
Yeah. Oh no, that.
But yeah,
even just that little bit took so much longer than the rest, just because I was like, no, wait, no, breathe on.
I can
But no,
imagine.
worse than that, I have, you know how I've mentioned my disability, yeah? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I don't want to go into detail, but the nerve damage. So some of my skin is really tough, and like you'll hit the nerves, and you just and
Oh,
the ink won't go into the skin either. So the artist will just go over and over and over and over and just hitting the nerve over and over again. Doing this one
wow.
tattoo, tiny tattoo too, but I had to tell him like, nah, look, we've got to stop this. This is getting bad.
Mm-hmm. I can imagine. Or I can't imagine because I don't even know what that's like having that
Maybe it's
disability
like
and
it's
that.
probably it is similar. It's quite similar if you ever have a tattoo hit a tendon, because that can really suck. But it's a bit like that, but
Mm,
it's a nerve that goes just it ripples through your whole nervous system.
wow. That
Yeah, well,
sucks.
nah, as long as I don't get tattoos on that one area of the nerve, it's all good.
Right. So
Where did I go with
I
that?
think we went on a bit of a tangent with the
Yeah, we
tattoos.
definitely did. But tattoos are awesome. There's nothing wrong with that sort of a tangent.
Absolutely.
Okay, so what other things do I have out of the bleeds? So we've sort of touched on your time coming out and the problems it had with your wife, or still wife, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
won't be the same forever though.
No, I just
But yes,
um
she's we are still technically married. We're
yeah.
just separated right now.
Was the because you were brought up a Jehovah's Witness, how did that affect your the rest of your family, your parents,
Um
like when
when
you
I
came out? Sorry.
well my mother died back in 2014 also. So
Oh,
that played a big part in my inactivity as a witness. And so she doesn't think anything about it. I think she would be a little disappointed. I honestly don't know how she would react because my mother was a severely mentally ill person. She had severe bipolar disorder. So she would either be extremely upset about it and trying to kill me, or she'd be like, "Take me with you."
jeez. Are you sort
Yeah.
of relieved then that it happened after she had passed, or like says she didn't have to
Um,
experience that part of
I
your life?
I guess it's a relief because it's been pretty hectic with my family. Um, I think I think she would lean more towards, hating me and trying to kill me so that I go into paradise or something.
Wow.
um, uh, because and I guess it's a relief because a lot of things happened after she died. Like my little sister got disfellowshipped after, like, right after my mom died because she had sex with her boyfriend in high school, and she had been living a double life. So
Ultimate
that
blasphemy.
probably exactly that would have probably devastated my mom, and
Mm.
just a lot of stuff has happened. But yeah, that's the way it's worked out so far.
Were all of the siblings baptized witnesses?
Yes, all of my siblings were baptized Jehovah's Witnesses. It's I have a very chaotic and dysfunctional family dynamic. My oldest sister, who is in her 40s, um, is a baptized witness, and she is the pinnacle of Jehovah's Witnesses. She is like the poster child for being a Jehovah's Witness in our family. So she really set the bar high for the rest of us. So we're all kind of bitter about towards her for it. But But my next sister, my next oldest sister, is the complete opposite. She's awesome. She left. She stopped being Jehovah's Witness when she was 16 years old, and um, just went wild. She was having sex. She was doing what she wanted, and my parents were not having it. And she got disfellowshipped when she was 16, and it caused a lot of chaos in our house. So my parents actually kicked out their 16-year-old daughter and sent her to live with relatives in a different state.
I'd assume that would be non-JW relatives, like they're trying to just get rid of her, or
yes, they sent her to North Carolina, where there were some non-Jehovah's Witness relatives living.
Just because it made me think of how some other Christians will send the kids away when they think they're being wayward in the faith. They'll send them away to a Christian family or a Christian camp, or pray the gay away camp or some shit.
No, they knew my sister was a complete lost cause, so they just needed to get her out of the house so that she would not influence the rest of us. But it didn't matter because we would eventually become adults and have personalities of our own and rebel. So yeah, that's my second oldest sister, and then my third oldest sister is another. She is a Jehovah's Witness, and she's a devout Jehovah's Witness.
Still,
yeah. Yep. So I have two sisters in and two sisters out, and you can guess which ones talk to me.
Yeah, I'm guessing not the one still in.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if they're in, what are they going to say? They're going to try and preach to you. So
exactly. They actively try to tell my little sister, because they're still trying to get her back, that I am not stable and that I should not be trusted, and that my other sister should not be trusted.
Just the gall of them. Ow, I just fucking headbutted the microphone.
Nice.
The gall of them to have that attitude towards people, that even the family that they've loved all their life or all your life, and all of a sudden just to like a switch, and it clicks and everything changes.
Yeah.
I think the only reason I haven't experienced that is because I was never baptized. Because I'm hearing all these stories, and there's one thing I'm always discovering is that it's always, when you pass the realm of being baptized, that's when you're gonna get the harsh penalties. Until then, if you go wayward like I did, you're sort of like a lost soul, but you're still out to be preached to, and you can still be saved or something.
Yeah.
All of these war stories, I suppose, are so foreign to me and my personal experience.
Yeah, that's did you feel like your family and maybe your siblings or your other JW peers that were baptized, did you feel like they always kind of look down on you, like you're not as good as they are?
It's hard to say. Like, at the moment, the only real peer I have, or peers I have, that are baptized, that I can think of anyway, are my little brother and my mum. I never ever get that feeling from my mum. She's just not like that. But
she sounds like an awesome mom.
Oh, she is. She's a very sweet lady. She just does the best that she knows, But with my little brother, he's the smartest man in the world. Like, you have no idea how intelligent that kid is, or man is, really. He's not a kid anymore, but
I still call grown people kids too.
yeah.
Even if they're like only 2 years younger than I am, I'll be like, kid.
No, but and he's still wrapped up in it, and he does. He has that, you know. He will look. It's not right to say he'll look down, because that's not quite correct. It's just a slightly demeaning tone.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But anyway,
but he does kind of, I don't know how to word this. He kind of keeps you at an arm's length because you're not baptized, maybe? Because I did that to people that were around my age that I grew up with who decided to never get baptized.
Yeah.
Like, you kind of drift apart.
There's a great possibility that did happen, because for a long time there we did have a time like where we drifted apart a bit. We had, you know, we were on a bit of an out, so we just didn't talk much.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, it might have also just been that it correlated with that youthful stage in his life. So it's sort of just hard to tell whether it was one or the other. And,
right.
Now we've got a bit of a what does he got? I think he has Asperger's of some sort. You know, so does Dad. So does I'm meant to, but I've never gone to the doctor for it. Which is probably a bad thing. I know. I've been reconsidering that lately. So it's sort of hard to judge because he's always at arm's length anyway. You know what I mean?
Right.
And because they are the only two people I have to judge by at the moment, you know, because when I was really in, I was way too young. You know, not like it was a different game back then for me. So,
like
when you're a kid,
definitely.
Okay. So how did you first come across the John Cedars and the Telltale and all of them? Because I know that they were the ones that you started watching YouTube channels, and that helped you out a lot. What like was it just a simple YouTube search, you know, Ex-JDubs or JWs are a cult, one of those typical things, or was it something more you know, detailed, I suppose, like a bit of a path that you found?
You're asking how I came upon them?
How you came to find those particular channels?
Okay, so
channels, sort of those channels, like those.
Right.
Shit.
It hasn't even been a full year since all of this has begun. Like, this really started, not even a snowball, but an avalanche, really, back in August of 2017. I was very depressed. I was not in a very good place, and I wasn't really so apostate. I was just very inactive and rebellious. I had already gotten my first tattoos, and I was just not happy being a witness. I wasn't going to meetings. I wasn't going out in service, and everyone in the congregation kind of irritated me. And I guess I was still depressed because of my mom's death. So I was just not in a good place. So everything about the organization irritated me at that point, because after my mom and I, you know, people were really nice for a little while. They were very concerned, and they helped us out. but it didn't, like, it kind of didn't last. And I try to go to as many meetings as possible, but I would make about maybe 3 meetings a month, and I wouldn't shave, and I wasn't going out in service. And so the elders and other people were bugging me every time I showed up. Like, the first
You're
thing
not.
when I came to the Kingdom Hall, the first thing people would say would be like, "Oh, you need to shave," or, or they would say, Philip, I need your field service time." And so I was
Just
like,
dox yourself.
I'm yeah, I was like, I'm done with this. Like, you bastards
Uh,
are irritating the shit out of me. You don't like, they
I,
might have been joking or trying to be comical or, be humorous, but I was I didn't find
I
it
don't.
funny at all.
I don't. Yeah, I don't think they do it to be funny. They are serious. Like,
Yeah.
even as a kid, that's like I became an unbaptized publisher a few months, or yeah, it would have been only a few months before I bailed, and that was probably what made me bail, because I was all of a sudden getting, like, I was realizing how serious it was. I wasn't even baptized yet, like
Yeah. You were just a kid.
initially, the moment I'd become an unbaptized publisher, they're talking about, why aren't you baptized? Why aren't you? You should consider being a baptized publisher.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like,
Yeah.
Jesus, dude.
Yeah. They don't realize how hardcore they're, trying to influence people. But anyway, anyway, but yeah, I after all of that started happening at the Kingdom Hall, I just stopped going, and so everything about the organization irritated me. And then in August, um, there was the 2017 regional convention, and my family came down from California. They moved from California to the East Coast, and and they wanted to go to the convention where I lived, and so I was pretty much forced to go because I wanted to be with my family. Um, and so I went to all 3 days, and it was awful. I
Mm.
hated almost every minute of it. And the thing that really got to me was the videos that they played. The the Remember the Wife of Lot videos. I watched them and was just purely disgusted by them. The every Almost everything about them was so bad and propaganda-ish. So,
So, just quickly, I know the story of what Lot's wife. She's the one that turned back, and when Sodom and Gomorrah was being destroyed, and she turned to salt.
right.
But how specifically were they using it in the videos? Like, what was the message that they were using it to push?
So they kind of tried to make it like a sitcom or like a soap opera. It was really weird because they had never done that before. They turned it They played videos on all 3 days at the end of the day, like we were watching a fucking episode of General Hospital.
So it'd be like
And
one per day kind of thing.
yeah, and I think they were maybe a half hour each. Um but what it was a modern day drama where it's an Asian family. I'm not quite sure which specific Asian nationality they were supposed to be. But they made it a very stereotypical um, family where the mother is a hardcore, you need to go to school and get an education, and you need to get a good job, and you need to marry someone with a good job. And it was really kind of racist, to be honest. The She worked for her uncle, and his name was Uncle in the show.
Oh God.
um, yeah, like, they don't. The Whoever made that did not realize how bad that looked.
I gotta admit,
And
Just sorry, I'll be real quick. Just that's something I do remember from the conventions and stuff that I went to when I'd see their production values. I'd always I'm a film nut. So I always wanted to get in there and be like, no, this is, you can fix it by doing this, or if you change the script like this, it'll be more effective. Or what's the point?
Right. I don't know what their point is, but their point is to make propaganda.
It's just to keep the ball rolling for the people that are there. And that's why the people on the outside, even us as former witnesses, we look back on it and go, what the fuck is this shit?
Exactly. You don't realize how crazy it looks until you've been out of it for a while and you go back and watch it. Because that's what happened to me. I watched these dramas, and after a couple weeks after the convention, I'm still thinking about how bad the convention was, and it irked me that bad. And I said to myself, I have got to find other people's opinions about this convention. I've got to. So I tried to find forums where like other Jehovah's Witnesses talked about it. I didn't know about Reddit back then.
I'm still not going on. Like, I still haven't got on Reddit yet.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I don't interact with it too much. Yeah, but I couldn't find anything. But I googled. I put it in Google. Opinion on 2017 regional convention, and the first thing that popped up was the John Cedars channel, Lloyd's video on the convention, and I was like, finally. And I watched it, and that was the beginning of everything for me. I watched his opinion on the 2017 convention, and it almost like it was the greatest thing ever. I was like, finally, I can listen to somebody that knows what I'm dealing with, that has some fucking common sense. I'm not crazy for thinking that these videos are the most ridiculous thing on the planet, because they don't make sense and they're just awful.
It's like it confirms all the suspicions that you have.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what happened. So I watched all 3 of his convention videos, and I just wanted more. So I watched all of his videos. And then I found Telltale on the suggestion bar, and I was like, oh, let's see what this guy's talking about. So I watched one of his videos, and then I went back and watched all of his videos up to the current video then. And I just kept going and going and going. I watched other Jehovah's Witness apostates, and I said before, like, I think the third person that I had watched who didn't even talk about Jehovah's Witness stuff was Godless Engineer. He just happened to be the third person that I had subscribed to because I liked everything, all the content he was making. He is hilarious, and I was like, I can get with this.
This is what got me. Like, I was watching all these science channels, and a lot of the, Professor Stick's a great example.
I love Professor Stick too.
Yeah, he touched on all these science things that had nothing to do with religion, and so that'd draw me in. And for so long, it'd be like, anytime it'd touch religion, I'd be like, I don't care about that. But then every now and then it'd be like, oh yeah, Buddhist or whatever it might be. I'm like, oh, I'm curious, I'll touch on that. And it's just that, like, it starts, for me, it was that slow trickle, and it was like, I don't know, I'd see Telltale popping up in the suggested list, or I'd see John Cedars popping up on the suggested list, and it'd always be screaming, something about Jehovah's Witnesses. I'm like, yeah, nope, not gonna watch that one. Even after I'd left, though, I'm still wrapping it around in my head. Why was I still so strong on my conviction after I'd left? You know.
Right. It's hard to explain, but I understand. It's funny because I used to, back when YouTube was kind of new, I had stumbled upon some apostate videos, but I was still fully indoctrinated, so I would troll and like get into arguments with apostates on these YouTube videos trying to defend the faith.
So
And
you used to be the Dr. Guyman for Jehovah's Witnesses.
exactly, I used to be the G-Man and
G-Man.
the white engine for Jehovah's Witnesses.
Oh, God, I haven't heard of that one for a while. White engine.
That guy is a fucking douche. I can't stand him.
Oh, I haven't seen a lot, but yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Anyway, if I'm not mistaken, I might have been watching a Kim and Mikey video back then when I was trying to defend Jehovah's Witnesses.
Mikey shit, did you?
Yeah, I think I did. It's funny.
I'm sure they forgive you.
Yeah. Yeah, the good old Kim and Mikey videos. They were kind of like the first. Like when I got back into watching apostate stuff, I saw their videos and I recognized them. So it had to be them that I saw when I was really young. But yeah, it's been interesting.
I kind of wish I'd looked more into it years ago, like because
of course,
I left the faith when I was like grade 8 or grade 8 there somewhere.
Can I ask what?
Yeah.
I guess we can only go by ages. What is grade A? Like, is that
8.
kindergarten? Oh, grade 8. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm getting used to your Aussie accent.
Yeah, and a lot of people have trouble with it. It's all good.
I was like, what the hell is grade A? Is that preschool?
Yeah, no, fair enough. You know.
Do you stop at J?
Yeah, no. Something about grade 8. Now I can't remember what I was saying.
Sorry.
That's all good. You asked me a question. Oh no, that's right. That was about grade 8. Grade 8. What was? Yeah, fuck.
I think we were talking about Mike and Kim.
Yeah.
Oh, you said that wish you had found stuff earlier.
Yeah, because I mean, I suppose YouTube wasn't around for forever, but it was what 2006 or something like that. You know, I was still at the end of high school, and I'd left the faith by then. So, and I was being a socialite by then too, because I did the same kind of thing. Like, but I had to wait until we moved because I grew up in a small country town. There was no going from a JW nerd white kid that everyone picks on to suddenly being a socialite kid. So when we moved to the big city, that's when I literally just was like, yeah, throwing this old me away, being this socialite kid, and I lived it up. But I still didn't like, and I was on YouTube, and I was on like, I didn't even think to look for that sort of thing for so long. You know, it wasn't something I was even contemplating challenging, despite having given the actual religion the middle finger.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Will. I did want to ask you one thing. It's probably a weird question, and I wouldn't blame you if you couldn't answer it. But looking back, is there anything about being a witness or having grown up as a witness that you could say is positively a good thing, or has influenced you in a good way?
That is a good question. It gets a little tricky because I don't. When people ask that, I don't want to. I don't want to make it sound like I miss it or that I am giving all my credit for my positivity in my life to the religion.
I want to point out as well that it's not to say that you can't have found this through some other means or anything. So I'm not trying to justify that like religion is good in any way. I'm just saying something that you took away from it. That
I don't want anybody to think they can get something good out of the religion. But looking back,
more people to find it elsewhere.
Yeah, I guess looking back, the positive things that I got out of it were that my parents did raise me to be a good, decent person. I don't know. I guess I do have to give some credit, to the organization for that because it was constantly drilled into my head, do this and do that, and my parents were pretty nice people. They always did their best to be, just polite, kind people. And they used the Watchtower material in the Bible to teach me that, is what I'll say. So they could have done that without all that stuff, but since we were in this religion, they used all of that stuff to the best of their ability to instill in me a good person. And also with being a Jehovah's Witness, you have to get on stage and give talks and stuff like that. It really helped with my reading comprehension and reading ability. I like to think I'm a decent reader. So
that's pretty much the one, like that last one there about reading and for me being a public speaker, that's pretty much the one thing I would normally say, like that's what I got out of it. But again, it's like you said before, it's not that I want to say, give them the credit for that necessarily, or say that people should go into any religion seeking something like that, because there are so many better means. And,
it's the people and the surroundings that make those good things happen. Because you can be in a shitty congregation with shitty people who can't read for shit.
But that's exactly right. And it, like, there are so many different experiences just because there are so many different types of individuals in each congregation. People are unique individuals no matter what religion they're a part of.
Right.
But unfortunately, I was just thinking, like, unfortunately, religion fosters a lot of the worst in people,
though. I totally agree. I like there were good things that happened in my life growing up as a Jehovah's Witness. But the bad, I believe, outweighed the good, and everything bad that ever happened in my life was connected to being a witness for the most part. Like it was a really difficult life being a Jehovah's Witness for my family, and I don't think my family being Jehovah's Witnesses helped at all. Like I know there are families that that stop doing drugs and stuff like that because they became Jehovah's Witnesses. That was not the case for my family. My family was destructive purely because of us being Jehovah's Witnesses. I cannot credit any positivity in my family to being Jehovah's Witnesses at all.
If anything, there's just a lot of negativity.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say that if you imagined yourself having been brought up in a different religion of any sort, virtually anyway, or maybe just a different type of Christian, do you,
Mm-hmm.
having been similar, or do you think it would have been very different?
It would have been very different. I don't think I would have had half of the issues um, that I had growing up as a witness that I do being a witness. Um, yeah, the only there's a there's a few religions that I can say that I'm glad that I was not in compared to Jehovah's Witnesses. I can say that if I had to choose, I'd rather be a witness over being a Muslim or a Scientologist,
Yeah,
but
those
that's
are all
about
on my
it.
list. Yeah.
Maybe a Mooney or a Jim Jones person. I'd rather be OJW than those. Other than those, no. Anything else would have been better. Oh, and Pentecostal.
Well, they do have a
Actually,
lot of
no.
fun.
Pentecostal probably would have still been better than being a Jehovah's Witness.
As long as it's not one
I
of
don't
those
know.
snake handling ones. You just get to run around. I mean, as a
Oh,
kid,
that shit would be
Pentecostal
sick.
would have been awesome.
I would have loved to, wrangle some snakes.
Yeah, but they don't they use venomous snakes and they don't freaking devenomize them. They're crazy. Cray cray.
Yeah.
Even us Aussies aren't that dumb. Then again, our venomous snakes, they kill you.
Y'all got a shit ton of venomous snakes over there.
Yeah, we do.
You could
Everything.
die in your sleep from something crawling in your bed. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, no, yeah. It's not very common, but it can happen. I think that's. I don't really have any more questions. Do you have anything you wanted to ask me?
So you're growing up as a witness. Was there anything that was abusive about your childhood that you would you know that you would connect to being a Jehovah's Witness?
A lot of control, but in one way you can say, well, all kids are going to be, under the complete control of their parents, but there's a lot of unnecessary work that goes into being a Jehovah's Witness, I suppose. That
Big time.
If it was just all about doing your chores and like being a good kid at school, getting good grades, I don't think I would have had much of a problem. But it wasn't just that. There's like the door to door work, especially as a kid, is just bullshit. You know,
Yeah.
and especially in a small town where every door you knock on, everybody knows you. They know you. They're gonna see you the next day at school. You know, it's no fun.
Yeah, that's rough. I didn't have that problem because I didn't go to school for a long time.
There you go. Pros and cons of it all.
Yeah.
And I mean, as for abuse, a lot of like I grew up with a lot of physical abuse. And I've mentioned this before, but it never really. It did. Like I would get hit by mum, and
Mm-hmm.
it was always, almost always anyway, about wanting to go to a meeting or not getting dressed for the meeting or not wanting to go to door to door this weekend because I wanted to stay home, play games or something.
Uh-huh.
But that's it's hard for me to go whether that's something to do with the religion or is it something to do with the older culture from back then? Because my dad was
Yeah. More
oh,
people just beating their kids in general.
yeah, exactly. And I mean, and with Dad was the one that would normally dispel violence. So to, I don't like saying violence, but the punishment.
Mm-hmm.
He's not religious in any way. That had nothing to do with a god or anything like that.
Okay. So you don't think your corporal discipline had much to do with the religion?
That's correct. That is correct.
Okay.
I mean, only so much as that it was dished out when I didn't want to go to or participate.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
But it wasn't that it was endorsed specific, or it was, that was never something that would have been mentioned or condoned by the congregation.
Gotcha.
I mean,
Well,
outside being the culture of the day.
yeah, that doesn't really fly anymore these days. My parents would be in jail today if they had
You never
if
got the wooden spoon or the belt.
oh no, I'm saying that was my life, was the wooden spoon and the belt. I've
If it happened nowadays, they would have been in jail, of course. Yeah, no,
yeah.
of course.
My parents were abusive. They went beyond their means to punish us corporally. There were a few times where I and most of it was due to my mother's mental illness. Like, I don't think most kids would rather their father beat them compared to their mom, but that's how it was for me and my family.
Yeah.
My mother went overboard quite a bit. There were many times where she would beat me so bad that I could not sit down for a long time. Like, for my ass would be black, blue, and purple. Yeah. And since we were homeschooled, we were with her all the time. And I was a bit of a wild child, and I was just being a normal kid.
Of course.
But I would get in trouble a lot, and she would punish me, and sometimes it would go overboard. And even some, and a lot of days when that would happen, if I did do something that was kind of bad, I would get beat by her, and then when my dad got home from work, she would tell him that he needs to beat me again for what I did. So, yeah, it was not good. It was not necessary the way I was raised at all. I'm not one of those people that like says you should never lay a hand on your child, because I know that's unrealistic. People do that, but
bounds of reason.
Yeah, exactly. My mom she didn't have wooden spoons because those can break. She learned that quick. You can break a wooden spoon real quick. So she had the super heavy duty plastic spoons, that you can stir a gigantic pot of oatmeal with.
Jesus.
And those were her weapons of choice. Oh my God. And my dad had a like 2-inch by a 1/4-inch leather belt that he wore every day, and that was his weapon of choice.
Yeah,
and
the leather
those
belt with the metal clip or whatever, that was always the worst for me.
Yep. What's funny? When I was young, I'd wanted to be a writer, like a comic book writer, and I made up this series of books called Super Dad and Wonder Mom. And the villains in my book were my sisters, because I was the only boy and a young boy, and my sisters irritated me. And it's hilarious. and sad at the same time. my my parents were the superheroes, and they had weapons, and my mom, Wonder Mom, had these spoons that she would throw, and when she threw them, they would like grow and knock out the bad guy. And my dad had this belt that was like Wonder Woman's rope.
You
And
you went full out and made a full story over it.
yeah, that's
Damn.
how much these things were used, that I needed to make a story where they were used all the time, and
That would
it's
have been.
funny looking back at them.
I'm guessing that would have been in a way your sort of coping mechanism.
I guess I was just trying to make a cool story about some superheroes that also happen to be parents. But when you when you go back when you look at these stories that I wrote, it's disturbing.
It'd be interesting
um,
to maybe you should do some videos and I don't know, discuss them. Do some
yeah,
videos.
I've thought about all the things that I can make videos about. I just have a really hard time, you know, doing it. Like I'm so self-conscious about everything that it's very difficult for me to make videos. I was actually trying to make a video yesterday about my wedding anniversary, and why yesterday sucked and what it had to do with being a Jehovah's Witness, but I couldn't do it. I recorded a few videos, and I couldn't get it out. So I
No,
let it go.
bugger. Actually, that would have been pretty good.
Yeah, maybe when I get a little bit more situated, I'll be able to do things like that. But for now, uh, I like to do things the Shannon Q way. I just I just like to join some chats and have conversations and have discussions with people.
Well, it's definitely served her pretty well, so I'm sure you're on the right path for that.
Yeah. So shout out Shannon Q, you're awesome.
Shannon James. Be in every one of my live videos and shit. She's not even in the chat. I don't think I haven't seen her. Have you seen her in the chat?
I don't believe so.
I don't think so.
I'm sure she'll see it though. So
Some GI or somebody will share it over. KC.
yeah. So the first apostate you watched was like the first Jehovah's Witness
JDubs.
apostate you watched.
Um,
Yeah. Telltale. Was it Telltale?
no, because I avoided Telltale. I was watching somebody who I didn't realize was a former JDub. I think I'm gonna have to. I'm just gonna have to look something up because I don't want to get this wrong. Come on. Yes, no. I'm pretty sure it was here. Like I'm pretty sure anyway. He is because I mean it was like it's I went through. It's sort of like what you did. You just go through all the videos. You know what I mean? And because at that point I was doing a lot of science videos, I was catching a lot of these videos from different YouTubers who would do anti-JW stuff, but I never hit them, or I didn't realize that they would have a video until I hit them. And so it's always, no, it wasn't Telltale because I was actively avoiding him. I don't think it
Uh-huh.
was John Cedars because it's also too obvious. So it's hard to tell, but it was either like here or it would have been through watching people like GMS, Cranium, G, not G, yeah, I hadn't got to him yet. God, there's more. I know there's lots more. But basically through that, and then YouTube gives you the suggested lists, I would have ended up giving in, you know, I just would have ended up giving into one. And it would have been somebody like Keith, or somebody that's less imposing on the beliefs of JWs as you know, Telltale and Conceiters is, because they were so far out there. I was like, it was too much of a threat, I suppose. So I was avoiding
Right.
That's why I think it was somebody like here. But don't quote me.
I gotcha. No, I understand.
Actually,
I guess for me, I was just ready for it. I said, "Bring it on! I need to hear this because it's only going to confirm what I've been pretty sure of for the past couple years, anyway." So, I watched John Cedars and Telltale with open arms. I had no shield up for them.
No, once I hit that mark, I was like that too. All of a sudden, it wasn't like the floodgates opened, but all of a sudden I realized how dumb I was, and how much I was being ignorant, and
not dumb,
well,
just brainwashed.
Yeah, and so once I realized that, I was just I can't stand to be that person. I need to know stuff. I love
right.
That's what I'm always. I was always about. So it was just a compulsion that I had to. Now that I know that this is actually definitely wrong, I need to know all of the reasons why it's wrong. I need to be 100% sure, you know. And I'm not,
right.
But I'm at least on the path.
Yeah. You know what really made me angry when I figured it out was Noah's flood.
I was thinking that a bit earlier too, actually. Yeah, that was a big.
That was something that I thought to myself, like, why the fuck didn't this, come up in your brain before, that none of this is physically possible or makes any sense?
Particular part got to you? Because there was a lot of the different things that I could justify in my brain, like even to the point of how kangaroos got to Australia, you know, and it was
really, how did you justify that? Because that was something that made me go, what the why didn't I think of that before? How did you justify kangaroos getting to Australia from Noah's Ark?
It's a pretty extreme idea, but it's not really that. I mean, it's still based in reality. And it's just the fact that there are animals that don't normally do a lot of swimming, or shouldn't do ocean swimming, that do island hopping. And you'd be surprised how many islands there are connecting from Asia to Australia. You know, if you actually look at a map, there's not a whole lot of water there.
Okay.
The islands, and a lot of animals do island hopping. So from that, I was like, okay, it's possible at least, you know, but that wasn't the bit that got me. It was the time frame of evolution.
Right.
Like just the whole, if we have the base number of kinds, I don't want to get into that. But let's say the base species or base animal for each species, you know, whatever duplicate and then become all the subspecies. You know, if we had only those animals on the ark, just so that they'd all fit.
Right.
How I never put into my equation the time frame between the flood and now.
You're right.
Really enough time for
all those different marsupials to develop.
Yeah. Like, and that's the one. That's one point that just hit me, and I was like, "Oh fuck!" And all of a sudden, I was like, Wait a minute. Now I have to think about a few other things. You know,
Uh-huh.
I'm pretty sure that was that was one of the things. I'll have to look for that.
Exactly.
Hey,
I go ahead.
Can you give me like 2 minutes? No, not even 2 minutes. A minute. Not even a minute. I'll be
Sure.
quiet, but I'll be back. Yourself
Alrighty.
might be here entertained. Apparently, we have 3 viewers. So hello to you, lovely people.
Hello, you lovely, beautiful 3 viewers. Oh man. And I will always love you. Come on, y'all. It's Whitney Houston. Oh my god, that was awful. I'm sorry, everybody. Hopefully, NotJah Witness will not take too long taking his shit. That was beautiful, wasn't it, Don? Hey, Don, I saw your interview with Mac last night, and I liked your piercings in your chin. Those were cool. Everything come out okay? I was talking to Don in the chat.
Hey,
he was I believe he was reacting to my singing.
Oh, were you singing?
I was singing Whitney Houston.
Oh, very nice. I mean, if you're gonna sing, you gotta really push yourself. And go,
I gotta belt it out.
Oh yeah,
Don, I cannot sing metal. I have to tap into some dark place, and I don't want to do that at the moment. Plus, I don't think it would sound very good. I think it would sound worse than the Whitney Houston. I'm doing you a favor. But you're back.
Yeah, I'm back. I'm here. I didn't take long.
Yeah, everything come out okay?
Yeah.
Is no chafing or
comes in, you gotta go out again.
Exactly. No burning. No penicillin needed.
Dude,
nice.
All the right color.
Excellent.
I'm pretty much brief histories, growing up. Anything? What else is there? There's all sorts of things with JDubs, isn't there?
I know. I was just thinking. There's so many things that we can talk about.
I mean, I'm trying to keep it to our experiences. Though. That's why I haven't touched on like the pedophilia stuff, especially in Australia.
Oh yeah, I know. There's a lot we can talk about just in our lives. What kind of music? What bands and stuff do you like?
That would be it. Okay, that
I noticed you like Korn. I know you like Korn.
Everyone can know I like Korn. That's true. I have a massive, like 1.5 by 2 meter wooden framed, just wooden picture of the band up above my bed.
Nice.
If anyone that knows me.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll be right.
Yeah, you'll be all right. It'll be a while before they get to this point in the video anyway, if they do watch it. If they're a Jehovah's Witness, they'll probably have given up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, well, see, music and movies are the two things. Like, I'm a media guy. I'm not the smartest or the most experienced in those regions, but I love them.
Shit. Who are you talking about? I don't know shit about shit either. So
Yeah, no, I know. It's just because anytime you say you're a music or movie guy, there'll always be somebody 10 times smarter that'll start yapping at you about some band that you know about, and ah, but no, I went from being that pretty much just listening to radio music and the witnessing, what do I call it, the songs, you know. Well, the only song I know on piano is a Witness song, like
wow.
Marriage is God's Arrangement, if you remember that. But
No.
oh yeah, good.
Thank God.
I
That
went.
does not sound like a good one.
I seem to love it as a kid.
That's funny.
No fucking clue. But no, I went from that. I got introduced very quickly to this strange alt metal band or whatever you call it, called Linkin Park, and then that
Nice.
evolved into a very big love affair with the entire genre.
Mm-hmm.
And like, because before then I was just Elvis, Johnny Cash, all the old music. I still love my old music, but that brought me into the new age, I suppose, of rock and roll.
Nice.
You know, so but yeah, no. Since then, it's really hard to list. You know, anyone that loves their music is going to have a million different bands they could list off. And even saying what's your favorite genre, I'd say metal, but that's not really that accurate. You know, it could be a million different genres.
Yeah, I get really irritated when I'm online and people get into arguments over what genre a certain band is.
Yeah.
Like, that's metalcore. No, that's emo. No, that's like, shut the fuck up.
It's your interpretation. It's art.
Yeah, like the
Yes.
title of genre does not matter at all to me. Fucking
No, well,
genre
that's
elitists.
the
Yeah,
sounds and how you feel when you hear it. Like, that's what music's about. So
yeah. I guess if I had to pick one, my choice would be metalcore, is what it's called, I guess. Like A Day to
he
Remember.
doesn't like people that are like, oh, metalcore, metal, softcore.
And then I name it.
I like metalcore. So what's
I like a. Go ahead.
metal and metalcore? Like, better question. Give me an example of a band that's metalcore that I might know.
A Day to Remember.
Yeah, that's a 50s movie about Titanic, based on a book.
Really?
No, wait, no, that's a Night to Remember. Sorry.
Yes, that's A Night to Remember. I do remember that. A Day to Remember is a American metalcore band. Should look them up.
Never heard them.
I went from Disney Radio when I was little to Green Day, and then
Green Day. I went to Green, but they were. I see they played that in school, and I went.
Mhm.
That might be where I have that disconnect in those younger years. I listened to a few of those bands through schoolmates. I even learned to have a heart attack. I even learned of Korn when I was in primary school. You know, when they were in their heyday. But back then I was like, oh no, I'm not.
Yeah. I was not allowed to listen to pretty much anything except Radio Disney stuff. And then I was like, when I was it was when I was about to go back to school, I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. I need to listen to some adult music. So I raised myself up into, the different rocks, and it started off with Green Day, and then I went to like Linkin Park like you, and then Korn and stuff like that, and it just kept getting heavier and heavier and heavier. And now I like a lot of different music, but mostly rock.
Yeah, you got like, I do. I mean, I'm a big fan of all different musics. I'll go from, rap and hip hop to old school to, to metal. But
Hmm.
there is very little in my mind better than a good headbanger.
Oh yeah. And my parents thought I was bringing my mom thought I was letting demons in the house with some of the music I listened to. Because I used to download the music off of her laptop, and one time she turned on her iTunes and an Avenged Sevenfold song came on, and she lost it.
That would have went down well, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, it was a total like demonic song too, where he's talking about the fall of Babylon and stuff like that. I was like, oops.
Do you have I mean, this is actually going into a bit more of a serious question, like it just made me think of it. Do you have any memories of when you were younger, when you did something wrong, like for the JWs wrong, that is, and where you particularly remember being, um, what's the fucking word? I'm having a brain fart. You know, discouraged, not discouraged.
Admonished or punished?
Ah, yes, yes. Admonished is the word I was looking for. For being, I think it's the word I was looking for. For being, yeah, for doing the wrong thing in the eyes of Jehovah. Like, did you
By
ever?
my parents or by like the congregation?
Oh, sorry, yeah, by no, by the congregation. Like
When I was young. Um, no, I'll tell two different stories. When I was really young, this was mostly by my parents. And this is one of the occasions where I got beat really bad by both of my parents. I stole some snacks out of my parents' bedroom, and I had been doing that for a while, and they had just had enough. So bef- my mom, after I'd stole whatever, and my mom found out, she beat me really bad. And then when my dad came home, before he beat me, he got out the Bible, my book of Bible stories, and told me the story of Achan and how God killed him and his whole family for stealing. So I got that lovely spiritual food before I received my second beating that day.
oh damn.
And I always remember that and how much I fucking hate that story now. um, and the second one, I wasn't so young. I was about okay, no, this was not too long ago actually. This was when I started dating my wife. Um I had been talking with her
Can I
for a little
ask
while.
quickly?
Hmm.
Um, what? How long ago had you started dating your wife? Between
I started dating my wife in 2010.
10.
I've been with her for 8 years, almost
Mm.
10 years. Um but yeah,
I've been saying that a lot.
was 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 it 2010? We started hanging out right after I graduated high school, so it was like 2009, and then I started dating her in 2010.
Yep.
But after we started dating, I was talking to her for a long time, and we started to get very personal about things. And being a young man, and her being a young virgin man, um, I had wanted to talk to her about some certain things. And then I basically, what happened was I told her pretty much that I had looked at porn before, and she freaked out. And she was like, I never want to talk to you. It got bad, and I was scared that I was going to lose her. So I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. And I'm going to go and talk to my elders about this. And I'm going to fix this. So I had to go to the elders and talk to them about looking at porn and stuff.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
It was not a good way to start out a relationship looking back at it.
How yeah, no, that's definitely true. How did it go down with the like? How do you approach that situation with the elders?
It was extremely awkward, as you can imagine. Um, the elders that I went to were decent guys. Um, they did their best as, Jehovah's Witness elders can do. Um, they gave me scriptural advice and stuff like that, and told me you're not supposed to look at porn and don't beat your meat and stuff like that. But I didn't get in trouble. Yeah, I didn't get in trouble or anything. They just told me, stop doing this. And if you need help, come talk to us. And if you do keep doing it, then you are going to get reproved. So,
There was a bit of
I did my
slap on the wrist.
Yeah, it was a slap on the wrist. It was extremely embarrassing, though.
Does that happen in front of the congregation, or is that in private?
That was in private. Like, I was not reproved when that happened.
Is that what it is when it's in public?
Yes. I didn't get reproved at all, but there is a private reproof, and then there is a public reproof. I have been through all three of those stages where they when I told you I went to the elders about looking at porn. They didn't reprove me at all. They just gave me counsel. Yeah. And then a little later on, I did get privately reproved for looking at porn again.
Naughty man, you! How could you?
Yeah, they privately reproved me, and then I stopped looking at porn, but I was fucking horny. So me and my wife got a little too touchy-feely, and she felt really guilty about it. And so I was like, fuck. So we went to our elders, and we both got publicly reproved.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
So I wish I knew more about the details of what happened with my mum, because that's the sort of thing, well, she probably went further than what it sounds like than what you and your wife went. But that's what she got fully disfellowshipped
for being a human.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, she didn't. It wasn't even like a fling thing. That was my older brother. You know what I mean? Like, he's a very devout person. Just that was the one time that she was human.
Right.
I just wish I knew more about how it went down, so I had something that I could compare that with.
Yeah. Who knows? I'm sure the elders in her congregation know very well. Unfortunately, they've got a folder somewhere with all the details of her sexual relations in it, which is pretty disgusting of them to have.
I would be doubtful that they would be still around. That's how.
Oh no, they probably still are. I fully believe that there is still somewhere in my Kingdom Hall a folder with my name on the tab.
Paperwork.
Huh?
like, because I mean, I'm thinking, sorry, for my parents, it would have been, mid 80s, early 80s, and so it would have been paperwork, actual files, and I'm just imagining how many of these folders they would have had on all the different people in the congregation, even though it's a small country town. But
yeah, immorality and fornication has got to be the number one thing that Jehovah's Witnesses get in trouble for. So they've got that on file on probably everyone, because everyone is a fucking human being.
Yeah. Well, that's the way they keep them in line. That's the way they'll keep, they keep the fear happening so that they will continue to be witnesses.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have something to hold against you, then what's the point? If they can't hold your family against you, then you're not going to stay.
Yeah. It's extreme. Even though, I'm not with my wife anymore, I still care about her. And like, it's still to this day, it upsets me that my wife was taken into a room somewhere with 2 or 3 other men, older married men, and they asked her extremely personal, detailed questions about our sex life. And I'm just thinking, this is wrong. It's perverted and wrong. It's absolutely none of any of your business. You're a plumber, you're a janitor, and you're like a guy that does people's taxes. You have no business asking anyone, especially a young woman, what she did sexually with another person.
It really sounds ridiculous when you put it that way, hey? They just ran it like they're just fucking any randoms. So what the hell? Who the hell are
they? Yeah. It makes me so angry. And it still happens that there's grown-ass men taking young people into a room to ask them questions. And who knows what they're doing with that information when they get back home with themselves. You know what I mean? Like, there's got to be some sick fucks that are elders.
Do with the person in private.
Yeah.
Especially given the reputation of them around here.
Mm-hmm. Like, it's so irritating and frustrating. And I really hope to help make some change in that soon.
Well, this is something I was going to ask. Have you had many experiences trying to deconvert any of your family? And if so, what have you tried, and how's it worked?
No, it has not worked. Obviously, it did not go well with my wife.
No, of course, your wife, yeah.
Yeah, it sucks. Like, it did not go the way I wanted it to go at all. Here, I was literally like on my 3rd John Cedars video. I had only watched 2 videos before this happened. I fell asleep with my phone on my chest and my earphones in my ears.
Did she?
And it was at night. She woke up and put my earbud in her ear and listened to it. And I woke up to her listening to it, and it just blew up from there. She was like, "Why are you listening to that?" And I did not know what to say. I was just shocked. I was like, "Fuck." So I came out of the closet at a time I was totally not prepared to, as an apostate and as a non-believer. And I had just started watching these videos myself, so There was no way I could explain to her.
No, you're not even ready to defend yourself in any way. Like,
nope.
fuck.
And she blew up. Like it was bad. She cussed me. She cussed me out. She told me what I was listening to was shit and it's nothing but lies. And yeah, it was bad. And it never got better from that point onward. And she never, at that moment, she never trusted me again either.
Yeah, she built up the wall there.
Mm-hmm. So if there's anybody out there listening that is currently a Jehovah's Witness and they're learning all these new things, please keep track of what you're doing and watching. And I said this before in my Godless Engineer interview, delete your browser history if you're not ready to come out to people with the things you've found out.
Stay in incognito mode or something like that,
yeah.
Just so that it doesn't pop up again when you open your browsers and stuff like that.
Cover your tracks just like you would be when you're trying to hide your porn from your mom.
Oh God. See, just that was the worst way you could put it. I literally looked down to my desk here, and I've got all these JW books, and right on the bottom is Crisis of Conscience.
Oh, nice.
And then you're like, hide it. Like you'd hide your porn from your mum, and immediately like, oh yeah, my mum found my porn. I literally used the wrong USB upstairs to copy some files.
Oh my
USB
God!
and of course she looked at it.
Oh my God. That's hilarious. It's funny. I had been looking at porn since I was like 13 years old. And
way younger.
So many times my parents caught me, but I never really got in trouble for it because I'd be like, oh, I don't know how that got up there. It was a virus. And they believed it because they didn't know anything about the internet or computers.
I have used that one back in the day. We're a bit too savvy for it now.
Hey, NotJah Witness, Nadine Collins says your voice is super low and she can barely hear you.
Bugger. Well, I can still hear myself coming back through, so...
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Yeah.
Nadine, maybe it's your volume?
Well,
I don't know.
If I'm quiet compared to you, I might...
Oh, yeah. True.
Why
I don't know.
Decibels down that low? That's not meant to be down there. Right. Try this. Does that sound any better?
There's a little more bass in your voice now.
Bass.
But yeah, that's hilarious. You had it stored on a USB drive. Wow.
Yeah, no, I did really well.
Just not that one time. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
What was? Yeah, sorry, I totally just got distracted with the voice thing. I was kind of.
Yeah.
My bad. I was gonna ask you something a bit earlier. I can't remember what it was regarding now. I mean, I remember what I was going to say, but I can't remember. It was you had two stories. Oh yeah, being punished by the witnesses or something. The first story was about stealing.
Yeah, that was when I was young, and then the second one was when I got reproved for my relationship with my wife.
Yeah.
Before we were married.
When you brought up the snacks and getting for stealing and stuff like that, it reminded me of when I was much younger. And I found candy. I go into my dad's like pants when he's not. You know how there's what? I would always find the coins. There'd always be a couple dollars, and I'd go around the corner shop and buy my candy.
Nice.
Eventually, not much time really. I got really bold. I started going to notes because I found his wallet. It really didn't take long before a $5 note turned into a $50 note.
Well, damn.
Yeah. And the problem was I did the 50 while Dad was still home. He just wasn't in his room. But he was already on to me by this point, and that was a trap.
Damn.
And so immediately, like, I'm going downstairs, like I'm going for a
come out with your hands up.
Yeah, he's come down, you know, all hell. And I've panicked, and I'm downstairs in the driveway about to try and, you know, I'm like, okay, do I break free and just do a runner? But he'll just chase me in the car. And
oh my god.
Yeah, so I tried to bury the $50 note in the driveway dirt, but he was already coming down the stairs. So he could see me. Oh, fuck. Man, that was a whooping.
I bet. $50. God damn.
Yeah.
My parents probably would have smashed my brains in if I had stolen $50 from them.
Let's just say that there was a reason I never got. What is it? Well, you can't go out after school and all that stuff. That was never because I never got that anyway. I just got.
You never got grounded.
Grounded. Yeah, no. So I was pretty much living the life of being grounded anyway. That, you know, at that point. So.
Yeah.
You know, any punishment, it was physical.
Yeah, I never really got grounded myself either in my later years, really because I didn't really have much of a life when I was a teenager.
Yeah,
but
that's it.
I stopped getting beat when I was like 14 years old, and after that, my dad, if I did something, my dad would just punch me in my chest and knock the wind out of me. And then after about 17 years old, my dad's health kind of really declined, and I was a large, strapping young man, so I don't think he dared to try to punish me physically anymore after I became a big boy.
Grew up a bit. I wish I had that. I'm still a teeny dude. If my dad wanted to hit me, he would just kill me in one go.
Damn.
I would just. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, my dad's health is very bad, so all I would literally have to do is slap him in maybe like his foot where he has gout, and he would be rolling on the floor crying.
Oh, yeah. Knowing the weaknesses helps too, I suppose.
Yeah.
My dad, I suppose, stopped, or the punishment, like the physical punishment, stopped after that big venture with the cops, I suppose. Because after that, it was a big one. But then it was that expectation that from now on, if you fuck up any further, you just don't come back here. You know, like,
wow.
Yeah. But mind you,
were quite the rebel.
I still like after that I'd go out and party and I would do this. Sometimes I still end up coming home in a cop car, but I was never a bad guy. So I was always I was always trying to be on the good side of my parents.
I've only been in the back of a cop car once, and that's because I was trying to skip out of school with some friends of mine, and he caught us. That was the worst thing I had ever done in school.
Did they drive? Yeah, they drove you back to school.
Yeah, they drove me back to school.
So
I didn't even get in trouble. They just said go sit down in the cafeteria.
Oh,
and that was it.
probably considered a good Christian kid at that point.
I was. As much as I was very indoctrinated still. I still believed everything, and I was trying to be a good Jehovah's Witness when I was in school. Like, I had to adapt myself socially, so I still like tried to be a cool kid and have friends, and I cussed and stuff, but I still would not I still had points that I would not go past. Like,
Yeah.
I did not form relationships with girls, even though I really, really wanted to. I turned down relationships with girls that I sometimes still think about.
I've done that.
But
I've definitely been
yeah,
there.
there's this one girl who really liked me, and I liked her too. And she took me for a walk one day, like to this lake, and it was really pretty. And I was thinking to myself, oh my goodness, I'm alone with a girl right now. And she reached out to hold my hand, and I jerked away. And I said, exactly. I said, we should probably go home. Yeah, you're cringing right now. Imagine how I feel about it.
You poor man. Because I feel that pain. I know, like, 'cause it's like almost because you've been so indoctrinated, it is a bit of a reaction that you will pull away. Like, I had a girl first. I was obviously still a virgin, and I moved here. Moved to the city, and I was the new kid, and I was the country kid. So, you know, I was interesting, and so this girl liked me, and I just wouldn't, like, I went out with her kind of thing, but I wouldn't let her do anything. You wouldn't go there.
Right.
And even after I'd sort of moved away from that mindset, I was still in the whole idea of, no, but it's something special, because, oh, fuck. So it's still, turn people down.
Yeah, I feel you, brother. It sucks. I try to tell myself I have no regrets. And everything that has happened in my past is a lesson learned. But that's one of those things where I'm like, I do kind of wish I could go back and,
And the worst thing is that if we could go back and do it differently, that's when we would actually learn it. Because with us just withdrawing, we're not learning anything of social skills.
Yeah.
If we hadn't withdrawn, even if we'd fucked up and didn't get laid, we would have at least learned something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That girl used to come to my house, and my mom would come up to my room and tell me, take care of this. Telling like a mafia boss telling a hitman to off somebody. She's like, get rid of her. I was like, God damn it. And I never saw that girl again after that year of school. She ran away, and because her family was psychotic, and yeah, it was a mess. But that's life. There's nothing I can do about it now.
Yeah, it's a bit like that, hey. I don't have any other questions.
Nadine is not a witness, but she lives with one. That's interesting.
Yes.
That's interesting that a Jehovah's Witness is willing to live with a non-witness, especially an atheist. She must be somewhere on the fence if she's willing to do that. So there's hope, Nadine.
I'd never thought of it that way, to be honest, Fenrir. I just assumed it would have been just a living arrangement, like renting housemates, I didn't think that would have been an issue.
I mean, it's not an issue. It's okay to do that, but, the environment that I've grown up in, as a Jehovah's Witness, everyone that I've come into contact, they would
They're
not.
just wary,
That's
like
not
they wouldn't want
something.
to.
Exactly. Yeah, they wouldn't
Yeah,
do that
gotcha.
unless they're, a little more open-minded and a little more liberal and wouldn't mind living with someone that's an atheist, because everyone that I knew would not do that.
I suppose I come
That
from
would be a danger to their spirituality.
yeah. Well, that's it. I come from the other side where my mum has always lived with somebody technically an atheist,
Right.
and it was in our world it was never a problem. But that's probably because we never see what mum has to.
Yeah. It's not normal for a Jehovah's Witness to voluntarily move in with someone that's not a witness, that is not a family member or a relative, or, someone that they've known for a long time. That's why that, Nadine's little story is interesting to me.
Um. I don't want to write anything in the chat just in case. But if you're still there, Nadine, does she or does your housemate talk about or try and get you to go to meetings or anything like that, or the memorials and stuff like that?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Probably.
Well, that's assuming. But,
if she doesn't, then that would make me think even more that she's on the fence of being a Jehovah's Witness.
A little bit. Yeah, exactly. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. I don't really need that anymore because I've asked all those. I suppose this is pretty much the end of all the major stuff. So we could just chat for as long as you want to chill and chat.
I should actually start. I should probably wrap it up because I should get to that job that I have to do today.
Yeah.
So
how long have we been doing it? Oh,
it's been about 2 hours, I think. It's 10:30. What time did we start? Oh, well, it's 10:30, almost 10:40 where I am. I don't know what time it is where you are.
That's not too bad. I didn't think it was going to go that long. Go us. Woo!
Yeah. We can hold a conversation like a motherfucker.
Like actual people. Human beings.
It's awesome.
We'll wrap it up then.
Yeah.
Thank you very much to everybody in the chat, whether they're here, there, or have been, or will be there later.
Well, yeah, we'll watch it later.
Yeah, exactly. I love my VOD squad if I have a VOD squad. Actually, this is my first live stream. So. And everyone...
I think we did okay. Yeah, I think we did pretty good. We had some difficulties trying to set it up, but I think
but nobody saw that. See, that was good.
Exactly. We figured it out a little bit better than I did when I was trying to have my chat with Anti-Ordinary and Miss Snarky.
I did watch that. That was good fun.
That was ridiculous. I was so irritated with myself. It was such a dumb mistake.
I watched you go through it before, and now I know the feeling.
Okay, but we can only get better from here on out.
Exactly. It'll only improve.
I don't think we can get any worse.
Oh no, don't say that. It can get worse. We're gonna always get worse.
Damn it. Well, fuck. Alrighty, dude. I'm gonna head out now.
You're all right. We'll stop the broadcast and then I'll let you go.
All right.
So we'll say goodbye to everybody, and thank you for watching. Sub to my mate Fenrir, and if you haven't subbed to me, then what the hell are you doing here? Sub already. The Godless Iowan didn't pop. He showed up in the chat, which is good, but you know, that's all.
Yes, it was awesome to see everyone in the chat. Couture, KC, Godless Iowan, DWB, Don.
Caught the chat this time.
Everybody, thank you for coming and listening.
Awesome people. Thank you very much.
So nice.
All right.
Alrighty.
So we'll catch you all later. Have a great night or day or wherever and whatever you are. We'll see you later.